The idea of double-digit multiplication or triple-digit multiplication is actually the same as single-digit multiplication with a few slight differences. So let's go over a couple of these problems to go ahead and see and notice those differences. First problem we have is 67 times 24. Having two numbers on the bottom means that you're going to have two rows of answers that you will eventually add up. So over here you can see that you also have two numbers on the bottom, which will also mean that you'll have two rows of answers to add up. Now if you have three numbers, if you happen to have three numbers on the bottom, then that means you'll have three rows of numbers to add up. Now that may sound a little confusing for right now, but let's go through it and you'll see what I mean by the different rows. First thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the 4. Okay, so taking a look at the 4, we're going to multiply that as we do in single digit multiplication. So 4 times 7 is 28. Now in each spot we only have room for one single digit until we get to the end on the left. So we place the 8 down, carry the 2. So now 4 times 6 is 24, plus 2 is 26. For our second row, before we start our second row with a 2 working right to left, we're going to put a placeholder to the far right, and that placeholder is going to be a 0. So now we multiply with the second digit. 2 times 7 is 14. Carry the 1. And then 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13. So now that we're at the end, we just write both digits. Now we add those numbers up. 8 plus 0 is 8. 6 plus 4 is 10. Carry the 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 is 6. And then 1 plus 0, since there's nothing above it, it's just 1. So the answer to 67 times 24 is 1,608. Now let's go over here and do this other problem, and we'll take it a little bit slower and go over the steps. So some of the things that we've noticed is that first of all, we're working from right to left. That's right. So just like in the first problem, we started with the 4, then we went over to the 2. So over here we're going to start with a 5, and then we're going to go over to the 3. So starting with a 5, remember first row, we don't need a placeholder, we just start with a 5. 5 times 1 is 5. Then 5 times 9 is 45. Write down the 5, carry the second digit. 5 times 8 is 40, plus the 4 is 44. Now for the second row, with a 3, we have to put that placeholder. So there's the placeholder. Now 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 9 is 27. Carry the 1. 3 times 8 is 24. Plus 1 is 25. One of the things that you will also notice here, before we start adding, is we have to keep the numbers straight. The more you can keep it in the straight columns, the better, because that way you don't get confused. 5 plus 0 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. 4 plus 7 is 11. 1 plus 4 is 5. Plus 5 is 10. Carry the 1. Then 1 plus 2 is 3. So the answer to 891 times 35 is 30,185.